Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 133, recorded March 25th, 2015. My name is Russell Frost, and I am, once again, the sole host for tonight. My apologies in advance, because my usual co-host, the ever-effervescent Danny Cooper, is unfortunately out sick again. He's still fighting some horrible... I don't know if he got bitten by something or he has some infection. It's hard to say. But I know there's a team of medical professionals in North Carolina working on him even as we speak. So we wish him the best, of course, and hope for a speedy recovery. And then you guys won't be stuck with me. Luckily, for all of you, I'm not here by myself, because that would be a really bad show. Just talking to you. Instead, this week I have three of our very best panelists. In no particular order, they would be, let's introduce Mr. Paul Guzik. Hey, Paul.
Hey, everybody. I'm here in wonderful Boulder, Colorado, where we had 3 seasons of weather in one day today. Snow, hail, wind, rain, and sun.
Simultaneously, or was this like in some order?
Just a little bit every hour. It was a crazy day.
Yeah, God does not play dice with the universe. Sure. Well, and speaking of
Boulder,
God, let's introduce our man from the sunny Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
hello from Oregon, where we have the deepest lake in the United States, Crater Lake.
One of the best lakes in the United States, too. I love Crater Lake.
Crystal blue waters.
And how deep is it, Patrick?
65 million lectons. Which is a unit I just made up so that I can size it to fit the answer later.
I don't even know what that is.
Is electron what hydrogen cars run on?
That's wow. Well, before we get too far into this, let me introduce our oldest panelist, and I don't mean he's the oldest.
Wow.
It's been with the show the longest, Mr.
Wow.
Hey, Shani.
Get off my lawn.
Well, that's it. You had to go John McCain on us, didn't you?
All right, so today, in addition to my, once again, I've got my Chicago Dynamo Copper Ale. I am also giving a plug and a shout out to Tell City Pretzels.
Oh.
Tell City Pretzels, hand twisted in Tell City, Indiana.
Wow.
So there you go.
From the real home of Tony Schaefer.
Yes. Born and raised.
Too much personal information, but
Right.
real shout out. Well, hey, thank you guys for coming on, and thanks all of you for tuning in this week. Let's get things rolling with our 2-minute news topics, and I'm going to take them in reverse order. So, Tony, last man introduced, first man up with the news.
Just a minute.
Am I interrupting the pretzel? Oh, beer and pretzel thing. Okay.
He's got priorities.
Okay, so I found an article that was kind of near and dear to my heart because this is literally my commute every morning. Okay, and by literally my commute, I mean absolutely nowhere near where I live. This picture was in China. I find it hard to believe that this picture is actually real, but oh my God, it actually is. So that picture was in an article about smart traffic signals. Now, I did... Okay, that is an example of not having signals. That is not where they hope to go with these. But the reason I said it was near and dear is that the very first stoplight I come to on my morning commute, it is not even a block away from my house. I sit for 3 minutes waiting for this stoplight to change. And most of the time during the 3 minutes, there's absolutely no cross traffic. It is a preset 3 minutes. I've timed it And if I don't happen to catch that light in about the 15 seconds that my street has to cross, it's a 3-minute wait, and it drives me crazy. So when I saw that in New Jersey, in the Meadowlands, these people were testing this system that brings in smart and adaptive signals. And what they're talking about is linking 120 traffic lights, and they're hoping to bring in 24 more, but the cameras that are at each intersection feed live data to the signal switching system. And what they're saying is they've already reduced congestion by 25%. Now, okay, 25% to what? I kind of left out the part where it said that people will spend more than 20 hours a year sitting idling in traffic. And so the hope is to bring that down. So, you know, we won't be able to eliminate idling at all, but just minimize it. And, you know, we've said many, many times that the most fuel inefficient vehicle on the road is the one that's idling. So if we can cut that down through smart signal technology, then I think this is a great idea.
I just have 2 observations on that photo. Number 1, it looks like every Lego project I made. About 10. And number 2, notice the nice clean air?
Yes.
Visible in the photograph?
Yes.
Yeah.
It fades away over on the upper left. Yeah.
That's haze.
And
Yes.
no one needs to use the right turn lanes, it seems, or no one's taking advantage of them.
It is. It does really. I mean, that's really like. That's not even like bad traffic lights. That's just like people trying to go when they shouldn't go, and boom, everybody's stuck in the box.
Yes, I look at that is just total. There's no other word than clusterfuck for this.
Yeah, there's no other word because it's not backed up in the lanes of travel. You know what I mean? It's not like backed up through another intersection. It's just this box is.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could get through the box, you could go freely.
There's a bus on the left, and it looks like it's in the pedestrian walk area, and it's pointing the wrong way. How did I even get there?
Yeah.
It's best if you just don't question it.
You just don't.
But as I was reading this article, actually, one thing came to mind, and it was back in the old days when there were actually traffic cops in the intersection. And that's what it reminded me of. We are now automating the role of the traffic cop who actually looks to see where the traffic is coming from, waves them through until that traffic stops, and then waves the others through in a completely natural, fluid, adaptive way. And again, I would like to see more of this because anything we can do to cut down idling, I am strongly behind.
So are you suggesting? I'm sorry, Paul. Please.
I just said that. Yeah, I agree. If you could have smart signals and cars that drive themselves and minimize idling and maximize efficiency, it will be a better place.
Yeah.
Tony, are you suggesting that maybe this is an instance where humans controlling the traffic flow might do it better than machines?
Not on a broad scale. What this was talking about, one of the examples that it gave is that an accident at one intersection would cause, increased congestion at other intersections as people try to change lanes or change streets and take side streets to go around it. And so a system linked together like this would be able to just instantly adapt to it. It wouldn't even matter why traffic has started flowing to another street. It would just be smart enough to know I have heavy congestion coming this way. I need to adapt, kind of thing. So no, I'm not saying that that a person could do it better or it's replacing the traffic cop. But when you take that one intersection concept and then you go like mega with it, and you're bringing in all the surrounding streets, then you really can create an organically flowing, adapting system.
And that's a good thing.
Yes. And you need to give out a few tickets. I'm sorry, but like you said, that problem is really that people are just doing what they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yes. Not. And the thing is, anytime I get a ticket, then the cops are giving out too many, and anytime I see someone breaking the law, they're not giving enough. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
take
Patrick,
that for what you.
let's hear your 2-minute topic, sir.
Sure. Let me pull up this picture here.
Look,
Yeah, so this is a story that I wrote today. It's about a portable generator specifically made for plug-in cars. And you can see there it was made to look like a gas can. They call it the JRE, a play on the jerry can name for gas cans. It holds just over a gallon
Pretty sure
of gas.
that guy is siphoning electrons out of that electric vehicle.
Yes, he's an electron thief.
Did he have to put the hose up and?
You touch it to your tongue.
yeah.
Yes.
Use a dead 9-volt to get it started.
Oh, that's great.
I hate that when that backs up.
All right, sorry, Patrick.
No, so they said that this will give you about 10 kilowatt hours of power, and that should give you a 30 to 40 mile range boost. And since we talked about the trailer on here before, I thought this was an interesting alternative to that. So with the trailer, we talked about you have to modify your car. This, you're able to just plug it into your existing stuff. Of course, the trailer had the advantage that you can charge on the fly, where this one you have to pull over and recharge. But when people... Go ahead.
But if you run out of charge, then you're pulled over anyway. So, it all works out.
Right, exactly. So one of the things when they haven't been an electric car driver, one of the concerns is range anxiety. So if you could buy something like this, throw it in your trunk, and give yourself some assurance that if things work out in a way you didn't expect at all, then you know you have some backup plan. Or you could just get AAA and know that they could tow you.
Mm-hmm. My only concern with this is it holds 1.3 gallons or something. If you don't use it, then would the gasoline go bad after a while?
Oh yeah,
It would take a couple years. So
there are stabilizers you can put in there, right? And isn't that one of the reasons that the Volt removes the makes it a low pressure tank, so that they have less oxidation over time?
I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Hmm.
I just so the first idiot with these is going to actually try to operate the charger in the vehicle while the vehicle's in motion. Like charge and
he'll be dragging behind the car.
Right.
Oh no!
Be locked into the
Pointing out the driver's side window and into the plug-in spot. I think it's a cool idea. It's
Well, most plug-in cars will not let you drive it when it's plugged in. I've tried.
Oh,
Not even intentionally. Why would? Oh yeah, I guess I should unplug.
I think admittedly it's probably more of a talisman than something that people would actually get a lot of use out of. But
yes.
If it makes them feel better, do you know how much this sells for? Did it say?
No, they haven't announced the price, and they said it's supposed to come out in Q1 of 16.
That's cool.
So using our math, that means at least it's 2 years away.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it looks like just a bunch of mock-ups at this point. Do they actually have a working one yet?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any reason to think that a motor that small couldn't put any kind of significant charge into a vehicle in any reasonable time?
They're actually a motor company, so that is one of the things that they have. It's a patented light motor.
Interesting.
Seems awfully small to do it quickly.
Yeah, it does.
A 3 kilowatt Honda generator is pretty darn big.
Right.
Well, maybe it's not that the can or whatever is small. Maybe the car and the guy are just very, very big.
That's a realist observation, Tony Schaefer.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Patrick. Let's go to Paul for the final 2-minute topic of the evening.
All right. Well, my topic is a announcement I read this week of a new car sharing company in Vancouver, BC, my hometown. And for those of you who've not been in Vancouver, it's kind of like Manhattan. It's very dense. A lot of people don't own cars. A lot of people take transit. A lot of people bike. And this car sharing company has got a fleet of only Priuses, and they're Prius Cs, and you can rent them by the hour, by the day. And what's really unique about them is they all have a roof rack for mountain bikes, or road bikes, I guess, or skis. So if you live in the city and you want to get away up into the mountains, you throw your bike on the car and away you go. And the other interesting thing is it is owned by the AAA club of British Columbia, which is actually called BCAA. And I guess they noticed their membership was declining because people weren't owning cars, so they said, hey, let's get into car sharing. And for the last few years, they have roadside assistance for bicycles. So if you're a bicycle commuter and you get a flat tire, they'll come out and change your tire and or tow your bike home. So it's a pretty cool idea.
I think that's very cool, actually.
I do too.
Encouraging any kind of more sustainable transport, bicycles is awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's cool that they chose only Priuses for their fleet.
Nice. Very nice.
You were talking about how the Prius really is good in the snow, so you just have the right tires to actually be able to get you up the mountain?
Yeah, if you have snow tires, you'll be fine. We got lots of people in Colorado with snow tires. They get around fine.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Patrick and Tony, for your 2-minute topics tonight. Let's move on to the big news, as it were. And I don't know that it's any bigger, but we like to call it bigger news. So, first item this week comes from EV News Report. Honestly, I'm not familiar with them. I have no idea where this link came from, but it reports the Nissan Leaf battery reliably outperforms cynics, critics, and alternatives. This is based on a European survey of 35,000 Leafs in Europe, and it's looking at Leaf reliability. It says that this survey shows that the Leaf battery pack is 99.99% of its battery units remain entirely fit for purpose, which means they're talking about failure rate. They're not talking about degradation, and I think we're going to get into that with Patrick.
Yeah.
What does he know?
Absolutely. So my problem with this article was it seemed to be a very, very narrow definition. I mean, and I get like they're trying to make a point that don't be afraid of batteries. Electricity is cool. Electricity is your friend, and it can power your buddy, your car. And for a lot of people, that's an important message that they haven't really internalized. But I was it kind of bugged me that there wasn't any kind of degradation information included in this, and that 99.99% this thing is a little...
Right, yeah. And again, yeah, Patrick will shed light on this, but I do agree from just reading the article and talking to people at work about electric vehicles and concerns and whatever. People have used batteries in appliances and tools and their wireless keyboards and razors and everything for years and years and years. They know that it's not, especially power tools, it's not that the battery stops working or explodes. It's that the battery doesn't hold as good a charge, that it doesn't stay charged as long. So I do agree that this is a kind of an interesting article in that all it says is that batteries still work and are fit for purpose. But to your point, it doesn't say how long they'll do that purpose. And this is where Pat can take over.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that this is for Europe. I wonder if they did one of these studies in Arizona and just said, ooh, we don't want to release that one.
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking is there something about how they're defining Europe that makes it more favorable, less extremely cold environments, less extremely hot environments?
Right, that's why Oregon is a great place to have an EV. We have very few days over 100 and very few days below freezing. So I've had my Leaf for about 4 years now, And that was the other thing with this story is it said 5 years and going. Didn't they go on sale in December of 2010? So we're at 4 years, 4 months. I'll just round that off to 5. And
if you round up to the nearest 15, this car has been on the road for a long time.
Right. But that 99%
exactly.
thing, that was important to get exact to the second decimal.
Yes.
Nissan has capacity bars in their car. It has 12 of them, and that was one of the problems. Is that it displays this, so people would start having issue with it as soon as they lost one. Whereas when Tesla Roadsters were out there for a while, there was some range loss, but you didn't know unless you really stressed it. And there was no. This was an in-your-face thing that Nissan did, which they thought would be very helpful, and it turned out that it worked against them. So I've only lost one capacity bar in the 4 years that I've had my car, and actually 3 years, 10 months, since we're talking about being exact. And I can show you the chart. Let me see if I can try to do a screen share and show you what I've got here. This might work. So can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a 2011 Nissan Leaf, and when it came out, it was EPA rated at 73 miles. And then I've been measuring it with a program called Leaf Spy. And if you have, or if you're interested in buying a Leaf, a used Leaf, you should definitely get this app. And you buy a small USB device that plugs into the ODB2 port, and then you can read all this data from the car. And you can see how many times it's been quick charged, how many times it's been level 2 charged. You can see all 96 cells and how balanced they are. You can see the capacity and the health rating. There's a whole lot of really good data.
Wow.
And yeah, so I didn't start measuring it until just after 2 years. The stuff before that just follows the model, that's my assumed data. And then there's that weird spike right after 2 years. That was when I got a firmware upgrade, and we all saw the same thing, that the range spiked up, and then after it got some actual miles, their algorithm figured it out and went back to a more normal rating. And then you can see there's some seasonal ups and downs. When the weather starts getting better this time of year, the range will increase, the capacity increases. And so now I'm down to about 60 miles of EPA-rated range, and I want to stress that that's not how much I actually get. I can drive hypermile. After listening to all Tony's great advice, I can do better than the EPA. So yeah, they really do degrade.
The later Leafs have even new and improved batteries?
They do. They're calling them the Lizard batteries, and they're much more tolerant to heat.
Right.
A Lizard battery? That's wonderful.
Does it change colors depending where you park? Oh, that's
Well,
appealing.
my car changes color every season. It kind of gets brown and orange in the fall. And
So, I'm just, Paul, any insight? I mean, you deal with the technical side of these vehicles. I'm just wondering.
So far, they've been working out well. I mean, some of the early ones have battery degradation, but I heard Nissan's been really good about replacing the packs with the new and improved pack if it doesn't meet specifications. So, you know, I think it's actually smart to buy a used Leaf right now because they're still under factory warranty, and if the battery craps out, Nissan will give you a new one.
Good.
That's awful nice of them.
So at the same time, we can be skeptical about some aspects of the article. We can say overall, Leaf's a good value. It's held up well, and don't be afraid of electricity.
Yeah, and in most parts of the country, people are really happy with those cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, now they have the Lizard battery that even people in Phoenix are happy with them.
Right.
But people in Phoenix aren't happy because they're in Phoenix. That has nothing to do with anything. I mean, it's certainly, you know what, you bring up a good point, though, Patrick, when you said Oregon's a really good place for EVs because it doesn't get very cold, it doesn't get very hot. And where the technology's at right now, there are certainly areas of the country where this technology works better than others. I don't think it's horrible to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that applies for anytime you buy a car, you have to buy one that fits your needs.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hence the reason why, as Paul likes to say, the #1 vehicle in Boulder is Subaru.
Yeah, in the whole state, the
In the
number
whole
one car in Colorado is a Subaru.
Yeah. All-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Is that because there are a lot of lesbians in Colorado?
Oh, don't go there.
Just curious.
I'm muting Tony's mic.
Hey,
So-
Portland's #1 in that category. Just to be clear.
exactly.
Don't try to steal.
So speaking of problematic things, Danny.
Bad segue.
Yeah. Well, Danny's not here, and he is Mr. Segue.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
Danny had asked that we add this to the news roundup this week. Toyota has recalled all RAV4 EVs, and the claim is that the problem is with Tesla's powertrain.
I just like the way the article points out 3 or 4 times problems in the propulsion system supplied by Tesla. And it's over and over and over again.
You would almost think it's someone at Toyota wrote this article.
Yes.
Was that too direct?
Well, I don't know what the daily can ban is. What is the daily can ban?
I have no idea. Danny was nice enough to supply this link, and
It's Kanban, and it's a method of just-in-time supply method, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Connor.
All right.
I've learned something new today. I'm not...
Part of the lean program Toyota uses.
I read through this article, and the one thing that I didn't get was exactly what was wrong. Did I miss something? I mean, there's like a...
Yeah. So it said that due to a software glitch, the car may inadvertently shift into neutral, like while you were driving it. It's according to a company statement, components to the electric vehicle traction motor assembly, part of the propulsion system, may cause the vehicle to shift to neutral due to a software issue. If the vehicle shifts to neutral, this will result in a complete loss of drive power, which could increase the risk of a crash.
So if it's a software bug, if this was in an actual Tesla vehicle, they just would have done an over-the-air update. They would have only heard about it after it was fixed.
Yeah.
Or it'd be fixed 2 days after we heard about it.
So what you're saying is it's not Tesla's fault?
Well, it may be Tesla's fault. It's just that the RAV4s don't accept over-the-air updates. So you got to take it into the dealership so the dealer can do an update. Oh, and while you're here, what do you say I change your oil and lube your chassis?
Give you an engine shampoo.
Yes.
Change your spark plugs.
Change your spark plugs, exactly.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. You need an engine shampoo. I do.
Just, do you have conditioner too?
Yeah. You want your engine to be fluffy and full of body. I mean, obviously, this is embarrassing. I don't know if it's more embarrassing for Toyota or more embarrassing for Tesla. I mean, obviously, someone has gone out of their way to say, "Hey, it's not our fault, or it's not Toyota's fault. It's Tesla's fault."
They're pointing their finger at each other. You know.
Yeah, there's more than a few things in this article where it talks about how Toyota engineers thought the Tesla engineers were Silicon Valley garage engineering because they weren't using proper procedures and all that. Number one, it is hard to... Toyota does a pretty good job of building vehicles that do what they're supposed to do and keep doing it.
But it was a very low volume car from a Toyota perspective, so it would be built in a garage versus properly engineered.
Well, it was actually built in the old Toyota factory, oddly enough, right?
Yeah. Until they have more Mirai on the road than RAV4, I'm not going to say anything about Toyota.
Fair enough. So there it is. RAV4 EVs, all 2,500 of them.
Okay. Here's something interesting before we shift off of this topic.
Yeah.
So on cars.com, they have a recalls section. So I did recalls for 2015 Toyota RAV4. Wait, no, that's not a RAV4 EV. Okay. Sorry, I would need to select
Redefine your search.
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong vehicle, sir. Is that a segue to the next article, Tony?
Oh no! In fact, let me see here.
Wasn't the last RAV4 EV just recently sold? They haven't been making them for a while, and the last one was sold. It was like a big deal that now there aren't anymore.
Bye.
Maybe. Okay, are you all seeing this? I'm attempting to share my screen here.
Yep.
So I have Toyota RAV4 EV, 2013. Why not? Let's go to 2014 and get recalls. Great news! There are currently no known recalls for a 2014 RAV4 EV.
Well,
Dun dun dun. I don't know what to tell you about that.
I'm not sure what you just proved, but there it is.
Well, I expected to see. I just wanted to see someone else's report about the recall to see if they were placing blame. Maybe they explained it better. Instead, Cars.com isn't even aware that there's a recall.
Yeah, I'm not. The other interesting thing about the article is it kind of went to great pains to explain, like Toyota's sold their stock in Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And
so did GM.
At the beginning of the paragraph, it's like, oh, Toyota's
Yeah,
sold their stock. And then there's like two little words, or four little words, for a tidy profit. So maybe they weren't so upset with Tesla as saying, hey, let's make some big money now.
I don't know, maybe they thought it would be good clickbait to include Toyota, RAV4, EVs, and Tesla all in one headline.
Yeah, and there you go. And Tesla certainly doesn't send me checks, so I don't need to be. I'm not here defending them. I'm not. It happens. It's a low volume car. It was, it was a joint venture, so it was two different companies working on it together. No one's been hurt, luckily, and they'll fix the car and move on. It's a great, fun car to drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I will say, when I saw the headline, I was immediately reminded of the headline that came out a couple weeks ago that said, Toyota wants all their batteries back.
Yeah. Right.
Well, as far as problems go, it could accidentally shift into neutral. That's not as bad as, say, runaway acceleration.
Or shifting into reverse.
Right.
Or slamming on the brakes. Yeah.
Or your steering not working.
Yeah, it certainly did not say that there were any known accidents or injuries caused by this.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's a ruse to get cars in to update the software to tweak the battery performance or something on their hybrids. Actually,
I can get
batteries in it cripples them as far as performance, but it lasts longer. So
sidelining, Paul.
Uh-oh.
Was it just me
Conspiracy.
or was he sidelining?
No, it's a conspiracy, Paul. There we go. We lost you for a second.
Did it cut out?
Yeah, well, we lost the last part of that.
I think it's because you were too close to the truth, so don't even bother repeating it.
Yeah. Big Brother's editing me.
Yes.
So, I think, again, these things happen, right?
Yeah. But hey, speaking of Tesla and over-the-air updates.
Tony, do you have a segue? I was going to say, I can't get... Here's the thing, though. Paul, I love the idea that Toyota would be recalling them to update the software to give you a better range, but I can't get Toyota to update the software in my Prius.
Right.
We actually made money on the car. I doubt Toyota's spending anything on the on the RAV4 EV,
Right.
even though they're only 2,500. Tony, either your video's frozen or you're downing that entire bottle of beer.
Oh, yeah.
Could be both.
Frozen.
It could be both.
Don't do that, man. You're scaring me. Come up for air. So, speaking of Tesla and updating software, we had talked last week, the night before Elon Musk's much heralded press conference, where he was going to eliminate range anxiety. So, my first question to you guys: did Elon Musk eliminate range anxiety?
No.
No. It depends on who you ask. If you're talking to people who don't like EVs to begin with, then no. He didn't. He didn't, because somebody will always find a reason to have range anxiety. But for the rest of us, it was pretty cool. What he announced, the whole planning and everything. I mean, Evan pretty much nailed it, what it was going to be. But
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, the whole thing about eliminating range anxiety, it's like Patrick said with the jerry can. After a couple of weeks of driving the car, you forget about it. So
Yeah.
I don't.
So just for those of you who haven't followed this, what Tesla did is announce a software update in their version 7.0 of their software that's coming out in about 90 days. And what it's going to do is add autonomous driving features, which apparently are going to make the car less prone to running out of juice, which I'm having a hard... honestly, it feels like this was like Elon Musk link bait. Like, I'm going to talk about range anxiety before the press conference, and then at the press conference, I'm going to talk about autonomous driving.
Bait and switch.
Okay. Okay, I just want... Am I the only one that saw that? No. Is this thing on?
Well, I don't own a Tesla. I'm remotely interested, so I didn't really pay that much attention. So there, out in the open, I came out, and I feel better.
Fair enough. So, yeah, the Tesla Model S will have an autopilot mode in this version 7.0, and here's a quote from the article in IEEE Spectrum.
That's IEEE for the rest of you.
IEEE Spectrum, right? This is it's an engineering society, right, Patrick?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Okay. So here's a quote from the article, and I believe they're quoting Musk. We're now almost able to travel all the way from San Francisco to Seattle without the driver touching any controls at all.
And I'd like to point out that means they drive through Oregon, just to throw out an Oregon.
Is that an Oregon fact?
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry, Patrick. I have to believe. Every time
No,
Patrick
they bypass. They go through Denver and then.
Is it a drinking game every time I say Oregon?
I was like, yep, sorry, Oregon.
What none of you know is that every time Patrick says the word Oregon on this show, the state of Oregon sends him a check. So, every Friday, Thursday, Friday morning, Pat's mailbox is full of checks.
They don't consolidate them. So actually, mailing the checks offsets the cost. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. 7 cents each, and he gets like 2 dozen checks every week.
And no sales tax on those checks.
But there is state income tax on it, because, come on, it's Oregon.
That's right. But if Dr. Fusco were here, I have to point this out. The autonomous driving stuff that he was talking about, it was a teaser for the 7.0 release, but the range anxiety stuff was in the 6.2 software release. And I think you said earlier that the range anxiety fix was in 7. If I were a Tesla driver, I'd know all that, but I had to look it up, which is why I was quiet for a while until I plugged Oregon.
I read through this article like twice, and I didn't get that. I did enjoy the Model S class active lane assist hack.
There's a hack?
There's a hack. So this is part of the deal with this autonomous driving thing is, and they use the example of the Mercedes S class has some of these features, but as part of it, you have to hold onto the steering wheel, or this feature shut down. So you can't put it in autopilot mode
and reach for your beer.
Yeah, sit back and read a magazine, take a nap,
Well,
or whatever. You actually
technically, Paul, you only need one hand on the steering wheel. So
Uh,
as long as you have one hand on the steering wheel, you can do whatever you want with the other.
yeah.
Yes.
Let's not go there. But apparently someone figured out a hack on the Mercedes that if you tape a soda can to the steering wheel, the sensors in the wheel register that as a hand.
why use a soda can? Why not just one of your empty beer cans?
We got to drink it first. So, I mean, who's going to waste their time drinking soda?
And empty is an empty, right? I mean, I just thought that was a delicious hack. I can just see, in Model S's keeping soda cans in their car.
See if I can bring this up. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a brilliant picture.
There it is.
The only problem, and this is me being OCD, but the only problem I have with this picture is that the dude actually used tape on a steering wheel, and it's that's never coming off. There's always going to be some residue on the steering wheel. That's the only part of this that really annoys me.
Yeah, that's gaff tape, and it won't leave it.
Yeah.
Oh, is it gaff tape? It looks too
It
shiny.
looks like Gorilla Tape.
It's shiny around over the steering wheel. That's what I was
So
keying
did
on.
the driver take this sitting in the back seat while the car is going down the freeway?
Looks similar?
I
The
don't know.
speedometer's got
Yeah,
that vehicle actually may be moving, huh?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I think it is.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if I can run this.
Oh, the video? I don't. Yeah, that might be pushing it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, you have to keep talking though.
Okay. Can you share me?
No, I can.
Wrestle?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, present to everyone. There you go. How's that?
I think this is yeah. So
Nice.
yeah, the guy's just rolling down the highway,
With a soda can taped to his Mercedes-Benz.
listening to German radio. Yes.
I don't know what to say. At least he appears to be on track on the nav.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 2 points to make. The first one is Google. This is why they removed the steering wheel from their cars. They found that once it was autonomous, people were, even if they expected them to stay there and pay attention, they weren't. They were crawling around, doing other stuff, ignoring the road completely on their devices. So they said, fine, if we're going to do this, and people are going to ignore it anyway, let's make a system that works without a person driving.
Right.
So steering wheel's gone.
Well,
Go ahead.
the difference is that the Google car, what Google is trying to engineer is a vehicle that will go anywhere at any speed on surface streets, on highways.
Yeah.
This autonomous driving works from the on-ramp to the off-ramp. And that's it.
Right.
Basically
Right.
on the highway. And
For now.
only on quote-unquote major highways, so that we're not even really sure. Obviously, there could be some smaller highways where that's not covered, where it's not mapped appropriately.
Well, I think I think it's not just mapped. I mean, I was trying to think of what differentiates like a major highway to a not so major highway, and the only thing I could come up with is when you're on the interstate, most of the time you can very clearly see the white lines, very clearly see the yellow lines, and I'm thinking that's what the car is keying on. If you go to a minor highway or something, it just doesn't have the same visual keys for a piece of software to pick up.
They may also lock into the vehicle in front of you too, and sort of follow it.
Right.
Well, it could, but I find that to be a pretty strong assumption that there's going to be a car in front of you.
As long as you're not following a lemming car.
A what?
Or following a police car.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you want to make sure you carefully choose the car in front of you if your method's going to be just follow it. I think they have more intelligence in there than that, I hope. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'd be careful. I wouldn't make those assumptions, but so It's interesting. It will be fun to see this summer how autonomous the autonomous driving is, what major highways are, and if this 6.2 update really has eliminated range anxiety for Model S owners.
I think it's a good answer to people that are in the showroom and say, hey, I'm concerned about this. Because a lot of people are if they haven't bought a car before. So if you can say, we have specific things in place to address that, it's nearly impossible for you to run out of charge, because we will tell you when you're getting low, we'll tell you where the nearest one is, we'll tell you how much you'll have left when you get there. It understands the route you can take, it knows the weather, it knows your battery state, it knows where the superchargers are, and it can give you all of that info. And it's running all the time. Well, even if you're not using the navigation system, it's still running actively to figure out where you're at and where your closest charging locations are. So, as we said earlier...
Does it tell you if the charging station's occupied and how long you have to wait?
Yes, it can even reroute you to when it's a little further away if it's available.
Wow.
And if you're going somewhere that has destination charging, then it can just, if it knows whether or not you can make it there. Destination charging is not as fast as a supercharger, but if that's where you're going, then hey, you can be there longer.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that was the other thing they mentioned, was that they're going to have 10x the amount of destination charging as they have today. So destination charging is going to be all over the place.
Wow.
Restaurants, hotels, lots of nice places.
Very cool.
Yeah.
One other point. You were talking about how these systems stop working if you let go of the wheel. I guess I understand the motivation there is they're trying to force the drivers to hold on to the wheel. But what if you fall asleep or have a stroke or something? That when I want the car to actually be able to do this is when I can't. And that for it to turn off at that point, that's just ridiculous.
Well, I think that's a legal issue right now.
Right. It's like a dead man switch on a railroad.
Yeah, you have to legally be in control of the car. Whether the car is driving autonomously in 2015 or not, as far as I know, in all 50 states, you have to legally be in control of the vehicle at all times.
Well, Pat, I think to answer your question, if I'm behind the wheel of an autonomous car or any car and I have a stroke and now the car is out of control, yeah, once I started having the stroke, I stopped caring.
Well, would you rather have a stroke and then blunt force trauma, or just a stroke?
No, I mean,
Well, they could have the car gracefully pull over and put on the hazard lights.
yeah,
I would rather say, drive me to hospital, please, and then pass
Right.
out.
right. I mean, what you're looking for is like a full-service OnStar that where
That
you're
calls
hooking
the ambulance.
EKG.
Right, because everyone knows that, once you have a stroke, your verbal skills are top notch. So you really want to have a conversation with OnStar.
If their speech recognition could handle that case, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Call OnStar. Setting temperature to 75 degrees.
I just want to say very clearly, we are not making fun of stroke victims. That is not what we're doing.
No, let's change it to a heart attack, and then if it's an electric car, you can just do the shock right there from the
Right.
battery.
That's right. They could reroute the high voltage to your.
See how that makes sense.
Do the steering. Like why
The
even bother?
paddle shifters will become like EKG paddles to like.
Please put your chest on the steering wheel
Please
now.
grasp the steering wheel with both hands.
Oh, God.
I think we just invented something. That's a patent right
Yeah, quick, get on that.
Well, that's the logical extension of autonomous cars, and like if you have some kind of emergency, the car can detect it and can do something about it. Otherwise, you have the scary situation where your car is driving itself and you're dead behind the wheel.
They do have the Lexus that apparently can track your eye movement. There was talk about that, right? Doesn't that exist? So who knows? I mean, maybe that is something that if the car is running autonomously and it's not a Google car and it's not meant to be fully autonomous and the driver is, somehow out of the, quote unquote, out of the frame,
Right.
slumped over or something, then the car goes into emergency shutdown mode. You know, I mean, who knows? And with technology these days, it's like if you can think it and verbalize it, somebody out there can make it happen.
It'll be in the Apple car.
Clickbait, clickbait.
Okay. Well, speaking of the Apple car, that was not a segue. That was a non sequitur. Green Car Reports talked about the Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid, and they call it the Volt sibling without a plug, which I know Patrick's a big fan of, and I'm just teasing Patrick.
No plug, no deal.
Kind of like I think part of the thing that bugged me about this story was that it kind of just seemed to parrot a lot of the stuff probably from the press release without really questioning it. But let's step back from it rather than parse the article. So Chevrolet is going to come out in 2016 model year with a Malibu hybrid, 1.8 liter engine, lithium-ion batteries. They claim that it will drive entirely on electric power for a mile or so, up to 55 miles an hour. And then afterwards, they claim that it will get EPA fuel economy rating exceeding 45 miles per gallon. So,
that's some pretty bold claims right there.
That's not bad. I mean, you know, granted, you're still in a Chevy Malibu. But,
there's always the downside.
You know,
I don't know. Is 40 something impressive?
In a car that size,
Blah, 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 blah,
the Malibu's a mid-sized car. It's same size as Prius, Camry.
It's the same size as a Prius, and what's a Prius get today?
Well,
it's more like a Camry.
Okay.
Yeah, they did put it up against the Camry, Fusion, Accord, Sonata, and Optima. So I think it's designed to seat 5 comfortably, you know, like those cars. And yeah, I mean, those cars get in the 40s, but I don't know that any of those cars can run EV up to 55. I've driven the Camry, the Fusion, and the Optima, and I can tell you they will not EV at 55.
You have not driven a Fusion.
But I mean, what's the point of 55 for a mile?
I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. Like, okay, the weird things about this article, yeah, you driving 1 mile pure EV at 55 miles an hour, who does that help?
I even take issue with that because where are they getting that energy that they're driving that 1 mile? It's from recapture, regenerative braking, and other things, which were from the gas engine. So I wouldn't even. Yes, you're at that moment you're not running the gas engine, but if you didn't get the power from somewhere else, you're just using recycled gas at that point.
Right. Which is your big complaint with this vehicle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing is it says Chevrolet says it will return a combined EPA fuel rating exceeding, which is higher than all the cars they compare it to. And I'm like, wait a second, they didn't compare it. They didn't even mention Prius. They didn't bother because Prius would beat it.
What's the big Prius?
Yeah.
Well, and the Prius is a smaller platform.
What's the bigger
Could have
Prius?
compared it to a V.
Yeah, there you go. The Prius V. How's it compared to the V?
About the same.
Probably a little bit better than the V. But it's a paper car right now. I mean, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Well, no, there's some really spiffy CG, so I think it's, you know.
The good news here is another hybrid, and that's not a bad thing. And they're talking about how this platform could be the first of several Chevrolet hybrids. That's good news.
Okay, I'll give you that. If they're using Voltec here and they're putting it out into a wider array of cars, and now those cars right now they have I don't know 1.5 kilowatt hours of batteries. So 3 years from now they have 4, and 10 years from now they're up to 16, and now they actually add a plug. It could be a path for the disbursement of this technology.
A lot of this,
and the gas engine's got direct injection, which Prius doesn't have yet, which is a good thing.
There you go.
So
It's got built-in upper and lower grille air shutters, Tony.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
So
and,
this,
and it might be Apple CarPlay compatible.
right.
Now you're making fun
And
of me, Paul.
and it might run 18-inch dualies in the back, and I think it might seat 7 comfortably,
I'm
and tow a small boat.
I'm willing to cut Chevy a little slack here. I'm glad to see them making this car. I'm glad to see them offering another hybrid. I hope they expand their hybrid to other models, and I hope this comes out at a price that isn't. So we have to have that whole hybrid premium discussion again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, they're going to be making the ICE Malibu and the hybrid Malibu, so there's going to be a price difference. I'm hoping the difference isn't significant, so that lots of people will buy it.
Yes, I agree. I hope that it's not too far apart, because we'll see history repeat itself. They'll come out with the 2 variants. They'll price the hybrid version out of the average buyer's reach, and then they'll put that out and say, "See, we told you that nobody wants this car."
The Chevrolet self-fulfilling prophecy. Now,
Yes.
2016.
They
And
have
this is-
mastered that.
This is why we need things like the CAFE rules that encourage them to put out higher mileage vehicles.
Yeah.
Right.
If they're suddenly not meeting that and they're in trouble legislatively, they might, we'll run a sale on a few of these and that'll help our numbers.
Right. Yeah.
Patrick, did you notice the 2016 Cadillac CT6 is going to come out in a plug-in hybrid version?
Oh, no, I did not. That's cool.
Yeah.
They already have a plug-in Cadillac, right? So, ELR.
Yeah. Well, that's EV only,
It's
isn't
the
it?
Cadillac Volt, right?
Right.
Yep.
It's the
Yeah.
Cadillac Volt.
It's the Cadillac VLT, I think, is what they ended up calling it.
But they haven't sold many of those, right? They
Right.
sold like 12 of them or something.
Silly.
I think they sold one to that annoying asshat of a guy on the commercial.
The
Oh.
poolside ad. That's a classic.
Yes.
Oh. I hate that ad, but I don't have anything against the actor. I mean, reading lines. Somebody else wrote for him.
I was driving a Lincoln before they paid me to drive a Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's different.
Right.
Oh my! Well, okay. So before we say goodbye to the Chevy Malibu and this week's show, any final comments on the hybrid Malibu and possibly other Chevy hybrids?
Not at all.
Not at all. So, Paul, direct injection on the motor is a good thing.
Yeah, all cars should have that, and it's a way to get more fuel efficiency out of an internal combustion engine. So, I'd like to see Toyota do it in their hybrids.
Sure. And what was it? 18 kilowatt hours? 18.4 kilowatt hour battery?
That's for the Volt.
No, that's a
Oh, excuse me. Lithium-ion packet's only an hour and a half.
1.8.
Yeah, 1.4.
Well, speaking of direct fuel injection, Paul, and the next generation Prius, I have it on very good source that I don't know anything about the next generation Prius.
Right.
That's straight from the horse's mouth.
Exactly, and you can quote me on that.
You can do that publicly, from what I understand.
Yes. Exactly.
There you go. I think that's our show for this week.
Awesome.
Let's wrap this bad boy up. Shall we start with the plugs? Let's see. Paul looks very relaxed, so I'm going to hit him up.
Sure. Well, plugging my business, Boulder Hybrids, in Boulder, Colorado. Anybody within a reasonable drive is welcome to come by, check us out, get their car serviced, get their car repaired. We do all kinds of fun things here. We have a Ford Transit EV in the shop this week with a blown-up transmission we're trying to fix, and the company that built it is out of business, so it's a bit of a challenge, but we even change oil on Priuses, so come on down.
You have a Transit Connect EV?
Yep.
I so want one of those.
Wow.
No, you don't.
Is it bad?
14,000 miles, the transmission blew up. So
Was that Azure Dynamics? Was that the
Yep.
company?
Yeah,
which doesn't exist now.
probably for good reason. I'm hearing. I love that vehicle. I love that.
It's a cool form factor.
Yeah, and it irritates me that it gets the ICE version gets 22 mpg. It's like, could they have put a worse motor in that car?
Yeah.
So, okay, very cool. And given my tribulations with my local Toyota dealer this week, I so wish I was in Colorado. Oh my God, I so wish I was in Colorado. Thank you, Mr. Music. Mr. Connor.
Yeah, I've got a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley.
Another check.
Cha-ching. He asked. So Senator Merkley asked the IRS to clarify that workplace charging is a free perk, like free coffee, and that it is not a taxable income item. Which makes perfect sense, but it is not clear in the code.
I think it's to the employer's benefit to offer things like that. I think that is something that they can tout as a recruitment plug.
Absolutely. If you want to say that you're a forward-looking green company, high-tech and latest stuff, absolutely. You should be doing it, and your employees shouldn't have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah, that's the
It's
scary
like free coffee. Yeah.
And who's gonna track that? You know?
Yeah.
Charge 450 hours last year. It's like, oh, please.
It would just force them all to charge for it, and then it's not a perk. It's just a service.
Yeah. I mean, that literally would be like the employer running a gas station out of the back of the building and calling it a perk, but you still have to pay full price for the gas.
Yep.
Mr. Schaefer.
Well, I want everyone who's listening to go out to facebook.com/whatdrivesus and like the page if you haven't already. We're back up to 600 even on the likes, so that's pretty good. And I particularly want to give a shout out to Todd Brubaker. I want to say hey, and Ray Tillingist, Dorothy Mikulecki, of course, and Hio Silver. So I just want to say hey to you guys. Thanks for interacting with us on the page. Also to our dear friend Crystal Markley and her dear friend Vincent. I hope Vincent is a fan of the show.
Vincent's a fan. I had no idea Vincent watched.
Yes, I think he does. He has a hard time with the rendering 2 dimensions, but I think he's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that Vincent is a regular fan. I'm going to have to brush my hair next week.
Why start?
Yeah, good point. Then it would just make all the other shows look like I never brush my hair. So let's see. I actually have a few plugs this week. First plug, my friends at Heil Microphones, heilsound.com. I love them. They make great microphones, which I use. So if you need pro microphones, it's Heil.
You're saying that we should seek out Heil?
Stop that. Don't go
Okay.
there.
I didn't.
Don't you Godwin my shout out. Don't you dare. And then a huge thank you this week and last week to my good friend, my service provider for over 12 years, to Joe Mitchell and my friends at European Eyewear. Dun, 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 who can be found at EuropeanEyewear.com. Anybody want to guess why I'm thanking them?
New specs.
I know.
Yay! New goggles. New goggles from a very expensive European designer that I love dearly, and thank you for them because they work great, and I'm much happier with these than my old, really, really big plastic, ugly ones that, while they were fun to hide behind, weren't exactly the best thing for the show. Yes, I got glasses for the show. I admit it. I am that thing.
Those are pretty nice.
So, thanks to European Eyewear. You can visit them at europeaneyewear.com. As always, I also want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. You can visit him at manthing.com. If he's in your area, go see him because he's brilliant. The dude's a genius. You can call us and leave us a message with a question. Oh, no, dead beer?
Tony's done.
Must be over.
Tony has finished the Dynamo beer. Paul, are you done yet, or are you just...
I need more.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm rambling where you could be going and grabbing another beer. Let's see. Call us or leave us a comment at 575-51-DRIVE. That's 575-51-DRIVE. If it's entertaining, we may play it on the air. In fact, if you call us at all, we may play it on the air because, frankly, nobody calls that damn thing. Luckily, we're not paying any bills for it. It's just there. So, call us. Validate our pathetic existence. Let's see. Of course, you can visit us. Tony gave us the Facebook shout-out. We're also on Twitter at What Drives Us. No spaces, no underscores, none of that stupid crap. What Drives Us. Follow us on Twitter if you like. We actually do tweet things once in a while. Also, you can get the show at whatdrives.us. That's whatdrives.us. You can download it. You can stream it from there. We're available on Stitcher, TuneIn, something else, and something else. This thing called iTunes that I guess a few people use. I have no idea who they are. So that's it. If you like the show, we appreciate it. Maybe leave us a review on one of those websites and give us a couple of stars. My huge thanks to Tony Schaefer, Patrick Connor, and Paul Guzik. Bravo, gentlemen. Bravo. Thank you for not making me do this by myself. My final shout-out to my sick co-host and good friend, Danny Cooper. Hopefully he will be in better shape next week so he can come back and prop up my lame ass. Cause
you can introduce him as a special guest now that he's been off 2 weeks.
Hey, that's true.
I demote him?
Special Olympics?
Yeah.
Yes.
We had first it's stroke victims. Now what are we looking? We're going to get banned or get like thumbs down comments on YouTube. I mean,
we just want to make the news.
Maybe
we offended you. That's the name of this show.
Yes.
We're here.
The politically correct green driving show.
Equal opportunity offenders.
We only offend people who aren't like us. We're like the Republican Party.
Oh, that's horrible. So, before anybody else says anything else offensive, download us next week and find out what drives us. And this is where, if I didn't have to do everything myself, I'd have the theme music ready. But I don't.
Oh, no.
What are you rewinding the tape?
He's looking for an old show. He's just going to play it from there. Oh,
he just dropped off. We're live without a net.
He's the only one that can stop the live broadcast, too.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about 5 minutes ago when we started winding down, the regular users were like, yeah, blah, blah, end of the show. They're missing this right now. So Austin, Jason, thanks for hanging on. Yeah, I have
in bed. You're going, oh no, I should have been there.
It's still alive.
I have no idea what happens at this point. I mean, do we just hang up? We wait for him to come back?
I have no idea how we could even stop it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to have to just hang
Control
up.
room.
Wait,
oh, he's coming back.
Ah, dang it. He came back online.
Got to hit the off button.
Put this train back on the rails.
We're going to have to do a marathon session.
Is he actually back? So, Paul, what about that funky weather?
Yeah, it was a weird day. It's nice. Well, sun's gone down now, but at the end of the day, it got nice and sunny. But
hey, am I back?
you got to hit the off button, Russell.
It's still live.
We're still alive.
I'm still live. I can't hit. It says it's off air. Oh, there. Now it gave me a stop broadcast button. Excellent. So there's like 5 minutes, 7 minutes of nothing.
Oh no, we tried